Welcome to Horrific Stories. Today's tale is a terrifying journey filled with suspense and chilling twists. If you love horror, don't forget to subscribe for more spine-tingling tales. The cool October night was eerily quiet as dispatcher Lisa Brooks settled in for her graveyard shift at the local 911 call center in the rural town of Ashwood, Oregon. Nestled near the dense redwood forest, the town was no stranger to bizarre calls, from lost hikers to strange animal sightings. But nothing prepared Lisa for the call that would come in that night. 11:47. The line crackled to life. Lisa answered in her calm, practiced tone. 911. What's your emergency? The voice on the other end was male, shaky and panicked. I'm in Redwood Forest. Something's out here. I don't know what it is, but it's not human. Lisa frowned, her fingers already hovering over her keyboard. Sir, I need you to stay calm. Can you tell me your name and location? The man stammered. David Harper. I'm near the old woodsman's cabin. You've got to send someone. Please. Lisa's heart sank. The woodsman's cabin was a notorious spot deep in the forest, about 3 miles off any marked trail. Known for urban legends, it was rumored to be cursed. Stories of missing hikers, shadowy figures, and strange noises kept locals away. David, are you injured? Are you alone? I'm not hurt, but no, I'm not alone. It's following me. 11:52. Lisa alerted a sheriff's deputy and a search and rescue team, relaying the information. Meanwhile, she kept David on the line. David, can you describe what's following you? There was a pause, and then a whisper. It's tall, too tall, and it moves wrong. It's fast, but the way it moves, it's like it glitches, like a bad video game. Lisa suppressed a shiver. Do you have a flashlight or anything to defend yourself? I had a flashlight, but it stopped working when I got close to the cabin. My phone's at 10%. I shouldn't have come here. Why were you out there, David? Another pause. Then a confession. It was a dare. My friend said I wouldn't make it to the cabin and back. But when I got here, I found... His voice cracked. I found bones. Human bones. And then I heard it. 11:58. The line suddenly filled with static, and Lisa's heart skipped a beat. David? David, are you there? A loud crunch came through, followed by heavy breathing. David whispered, It's here. Oh God, it's right outside the window. Lisa's voice remained steady, though her pulse raced. Stay quiet, David. Don't move. Help is on the way. David's breathing quickened. It's looking in. Its eyes. They're glowing. And its mouth. It doesn't make sense. Too many teeth. Lisa glanced at the map on her screen. The search and rescue team was still 15 minutes away. David, listen to me. You need to stay hidden. Don't make any noise. Too late, he whispered. It knows I'm here. 12:04 a.m. The call cut out abruptly. Lisa tried to reconnect, but there was no signal. Moments later, the deputy radioed in. We're approaching the woodsman's cabin. No sign of anyone yet. Lisa relayed what she'd heard, her voice tight with urgency. 12:19 a.m. The team reached the cabin. It was in ruins, overgrown with moss and vines. Inside, they found David's phone, still recording, but no sign of David himself. They played back the last moments of the recording. Heavy footsteps, a guttural growl, David whispering, Please, no, then a blood-curdling scream. Aftermath. David Harper was never found. The cabin was searched extensively, but no trace of him or the creature was discovered. His friends admitted to daring him to visit the cabin, but swore they'd heard stories of the creature before. A local legend they called the Forest Stalker. Despite countless searches, David became one of many who vanished in the redwood forest. Locals still claim to hear strange sounds near the woodsman's cabin, low growls, eerie whispers, and sometimes the faint cry of a man begging for his life. Conclusion. The case remains unsolved, a chilling reminder of the dangers lurking in the dark corners of the world. As Lisa tells it to this day, "That night, I heard pure terror on the line. Whatever David saw, it wasn't human, and it's still out there." Weeks turned into months, but the mystery of David Harper's disappearance continued to haunt the small town of Ashwood. Search parties scoured the redwood forest, but no new clues surfaced. The woodsman's cabin became a forbidden zone, with even the most adventurous locals steering clear of its cursed aura. Lisa Brooks couldn't shake the call from her mind. The sound of David's whispered pleas and the guttural growl on the recording played in her nightmares. Something about the case didn't sit right with her, and the nagging feeling that there was more to the story gnawed at her. One night, as a storm raged outside, she found herself revisiting the call logs, listening to David's last moments over and over again. There was something in the background, something she hadn't noticed before. A faint, rhythmic knocking. A chilling discovery. Lisa took the recording to her friend, Ben Carter, a sound technician and amateur paranormal investigator. Ben amplified and cleaned up the audio, isolating the knocking. "It's not random," he said, his brow furrowed. "It's a pattern, almost like Morse code." They translated the code, and Lisa's blood ran cold. The knocks spelled out one word: run. A desperate search. Haunted by the discovery, Lisa felt compelled to investigate further. Against her better judgment, she reached out to Sheriff Grayson, who had led the original search. Reluctantly, he agreed to accompany her and Ben back to the woodsman's cabin to look for answers. They set out on a crisp December morning, armed with flashlights, a thermal imaging camera, and a digital recorder. As they approached the cabin, the forest seemed unnaturally quiet. No birds, no rustling leaves, just an oppressive, suffocating silence. The cabin loomed ahead, more decrepit than Lisa remembered from the search photos. The door hung crooked on its hinges, creaking in the wind. Inside the cabin. Stepping inside, Lisa felt an overwhelming sense of dread. The air was icy and the faint smell of decay lingered. Ben set up his equipment, scanning the room with the thermal camera. "Over here," he whispered, pointing to a corner. The thermal image revealed a cold spot shaped like a crouching figure. Lisa's stomach churned as she realized it was right where David's phone had been found. They set the recorder down and asked questions into the void. "David, are you here? What happened to you?" At first, there was nothing but static. Then, faintly, a voice crackled through. "It's here. Don't look at it." The presence. The temperature in the room plummeted. Their breath came out in visible puffs, and a low growl resonated through the walls. Sheriff Grayson drew his firearm, though it seemed laughable against whatever unseen force they were facing. Ben swung the thermal camera toward the doorway and froze. "It's moving," he whispered. The camera revealed a towering figure, impossibly thin, with elongated limbs. It moved in jerky, unnatural motions, as if it didn't belong in this world. "Out," Grayson ordered. "Now!" They bolted for the door, but the growling grew louder, accompanied by thundering footsteps. Lisa glanced back and caught a glimpse of it, a horrifying visage with glowing eyes and a mouth full of needle-like teeth. It was exactly as David had described. A narrow escape. The trio sprinted through the forest, the creature's guttural roars echoing behind them. Lisa tripped on a root, her flashlight skittering away. Grayson pulled her to her feet as Ben shouted, "It's gaining on us!" Ahead, the forest opened into a clearing where their vehicle was parked. The creature stopped at the edge of the trees, its glowing eyes watching them with malevolent intelligence. Lisa scrambled into the car, slamming the door as Grayson floored the accelerator. The creature let out one last deafening roar before vanishing into the shadows. The final clue. Back at the station, they reviewed the recorder. Among the static and growls was a final chilling message. "You can't escape. It's part of the forest now." Ben cross-referenced the audio with local legends and discovered a pattern. The woodsman's cabin was built on sacred ground, a site where indigenous tribes once performed rituals to seal away a malevolent spirit. Over time, the seal had weakened, allowing the entity to roam freely. Lisa knew they had to warn others, but who would believe them? The forest had claimed its latest victim, and it was only a matter of time before it struck again. Setting: the vast and remote Black Hills National Forest in South Dakota, where legends of strange disappearances and eerie encounters have persisted for centuries. Introduction. The Black Hills had always been a popular destination for campers and hikers, but it also had a dark side. Over the years, dozens of people had gone missing without a trace, sparking rumors of mysterious forces lurking in the forest. Despite these tales, a group of 4 college friends, Mark, Sarah, Brian, and Emma, decided to camp in one of the forest's most secluded areas. What happened to them became one of the most baffling 911 cases ever recorded. The call. 11:23 p.m. 911 dispatcher Rachel Mendez answered a call from an unfamiliar number. The voice on the other end was trembling with fear. "Please, you have to help us." "Sir, this is 911. What's your location and the nature of your emergency?" Rachel asked, keeping her tone calm. "We're in Black Hills, near Harney Peak. Something's out here, it's not human." The caller, identified as Mark Peterson, struggled to speak between shallow breaths. Rachel immediately alerted the local sheriff's office and search and rescue teams. "Mark, stay on the line. What's happening?" "There was a noise. It woke us up. Something was moving around the tent. We thought it was a bear, but when we looked outside, it was standing, watching us." Rachel's fingers tightened on her headset. "What did it look like?" "It was tall, too tall, pale skin, and no face, no eyes, no mouth. But it knew we were there." The hunt begins. Sheriff Ryan Holbrook, a veteran of many wilderness rescues, was dispatched along with 2 deputies and a rescue team. Meanwhile, Rachel kept Mark on the line. "Where are your friends?" Rachel asked. Mark's voice cracked. They ran. Brian and Emma went one way. Sarah and I went another. I don't know where they are now. It's after them." "Stay where you are, Mark. Help is on the way." "No," Mark whispered. "It's here." The line went dead. The search. The rescue team reached the area near Harney Peak around 1 a.m., using GPS to track Mark's phone. They found the remains of a campsite, a torn tent, scattered belongings, and claw-like marks etched into the trees. But there was no sign of Mark or his friends. The team split into groups, calling out for the campers. Around 2:15 a.m., Deputy Langston radioed in. "We found something, but it's not them. It's weird." Langston described a series of small wooden effigies hanging from the trees, arranged in strange patterns. "Looks like some kind of ritual, but who would do this out here?" The recordings. At 3:07 a.m., the team discovered a phone partially buried in the dirt. It belonged to Sarah. The phone's battery was dead, but back at the station, the tech team retrieved its contents. The last video was taken at 11:45 p.m., just minutes after the 911 call. The footage was shaky, showing Sarah and Mark running through the woods, their heavy breathing overpowering the sound of crunching leaves. "It's behind us!" Sarah screamed. The camera panned briefly, capturing a fleeting image of a tall, pale figure with elongated limbs emerging from the trees. The screen went black as Sarah dropped the phone. The aftermath. Despite an exhaustive search that lasted 2 weeks, no trace of the 4 friends was ever found. Their disappearance was officially classified as a case of misadventure, though many locals believed otherwise. Rachel, the dispatcher, left her job shortly after. She claimed she could still hear Mark's desperate whispers in her sleep. Sheriff Holbrook, a hardened skeptic, refused to discuss the case publicly, though rumors persisted that he'd seen something that night he couldn't explain. The only clue was Sarah's video, which was withheld from the public but leaked online years later. Conspiracy theorists latched onto the footage, dubbing the figure the Faceless Stalker. To this day, hikers in Black Hills report hearing faint whispers and seeing strange effigies deep in the woods. Some claim to feel eyes watching them, though nothing is ever there when they turn around. The Black Hills remain as beautiful as they are terrifying, guarding their secrets with shadows and silence. Thanks for watching Horrific Stories. If you enjoyed this chilling tale, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more spine-tingling stories. Until next time, keep your lights on and your fears closed.